nobody knows the Nashville Predators quite like Pete Weber. And you have been on the call for the majority of the games in the history of this organization. So
About
you have
98%.
Oh, yeah. So you have a front row seat to the Pekka Rinne experience. So
Yes.
Obviously, this one he couldn't be here tonight, so you're stepping in his stead. So when you think about Pekka Rinne's career, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when discussing Pekka Rinne?
His incredible combativeness, the way he was always ready to battle, and sometimes a goaltender has to battle himself. And he had to do that in his very first NHL appearance against Chicago. He gave up a shorthanded goal in the first shot he ever faced and still hung in there and won the hockey game. So the idea that he could bounce back from that, they talk about relief pitchers in baseball have to have very short-term memory. Well, that's what he demonstrated that particular night.
When did you realize that Pekka Rinne was going to be a really special goaltender?
I realized he was a special person early on because I would chat with him because of the proximity between Chicago and Milwaukee. Milwaukee being the home of the Admirals, the Predators farm club. He would come into Chicago every now and then on an off night, and we would chat quite a bit. So I could tell he had a good, even disposition, and I can't say that for a lot of goaltenders, okay? Because some of them probably should be incarcerated for being absolutely wacko. But no, very even-tempered and could get the job done because of that, I think.
It's a really special thing, and obviously athletically he stood out from most goaltenders because of the way he was able to move.
Yes. And with that large a body, you got to have great body control, and that he did.
Now, obviously, I'm a little bit newer to the world of hockey, but
okay.
I'll never forget that run to the Stanley Cup final, and I've never seen the city of Nashville more enthralled with an organization than they were with the Predators making that Stanley Cup run. And Pekka Rinne was one of the chief reasons why.
He definitely was. And let's remember, that was also the time of the CMA Fest, crowding the streets of downtown Music City here. And it was like a hockey Woodstock had come about, only without as much drug usage and and nakedness. But it was still, that was really what it was all about. It was a hockey festival.
It's really special. Do you consider Pekka Rinne the greatest Predator of all time?
That's a tough question to answer, especially with the new guys that just came in that were signed up. They're going to have a good chance of being labeled that way, but I'm going to say right now, a co-leadership at the top of that board with a man who's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame in November, Shea Weber, and those two worked together to create the 365 Foundation, which helped out so much at Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital.
As good as it gets. Before we go, I do want to get your opinion because you obviously know all things Preds, and the Predators did make some serious moves in the off season. So
I'll tell you, I got a text as July 1st is beginning to unfold, and somebody said, boy, you guys have made a huge splash. I go, splash, heck. We're talking about a cannonball. It was an absolute cannonball jumping into the pool. That money splashed all over the place and brought in two guys who have been 40 goal scorers. So now the Predators have 3 40-goal scorers, adding Philip Forsberg into the mix. And then 3 guys now who have won cups, along with Ryan O'Reilly, who was signed last year. You have Marchessault from the Vegas Golden Knights Cup team and from the 2 Cup teams in Tampa Bay as well. So that is not bad.
Not bad. So do you think that raises the level of expectation for the Predators?
Sure, and we might have to go back to that high school book I had to read, Great Expectations, and say that's probably raised them here as high as ever they have been. But I think that's a good thing. It puts the pressure on the guys to perform.
Pete Weber has been my guest, and I hope we can do this again sometime.
Happy to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
You got it. And here is